Get your notepad. I'm about to give you the exact list of legal documents you need to launch your one-on-one coaching program. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe to this video. I'm here twice a week telling you exactly what you need to do so that you don't have to guess or Google or wonder to protect your paycheck and your content and your reputation and your energy and your community as you are holding clients accountable to those dreams, helping them get the transformational results that ultimately sell your coaching packages for you. All right, if you're here, you know intuitively that sometimes things get out of hand, situations arise that are unexpected, and just generally things go wrong. And that is as true in a coaching business as it is in life. In this video, though, we're going to talk about exactly what can go wrong in a one-on-one situation so that it's very easy and intuitive to understand what we do from a legal standpoint to prevent those things, hopefully, but in case we can't prevent them, to make sure that the result of that problem or dispute is one that you can live with, that you can thoughtfully plan for in advance, so that if the situation arises, you know that you have a really good chance of having this resolved in your favor with as minimal drama as possible. So if that sounds good, keep watching. By the way, there is something hugely important you need to know about solving these problems in your favor, and that is almost always it's going to require more than one document, more than one step on your part. The internet would have you believe that if you run out and buy a template for a one-on-one coaching relationship, that you will be good. And the truth is that one document is not going to be enough. The people who are willing to sell you a document either don't know that or don't care, and you should be aware of that. But the other thing is, most documents that are out there are really just glorified receipts. In other words, they show that you promised X number of sessions for Y dollars. I can assure you, after 10 plus years serving coaches and almost 20 years as an attorney in general, that disputes almost never arise over those basic items. Instead, disputes arise over the details, and those details need to be spoken to in the agreement. So those things that you can buy online, it's often what they're missing that come back to bite later. My goal is to have you sign something that you understand today that you can also rely on later to actually help you win in case of a dispute. So to show you how that works and show you where you can get my documents, we're going to go through two main parts. First, I want to talk to you about the main issues that arise in one-on-one coaching relationships because they may surprise you. And if you're a newer coach, you may not be aware of these things yet. Then we'll talk about what we do from a legal standpoint in terms of policies and contracts and selling tactics and other communications to your clients to make sure that you set the stage for relationships that are zen peaceful instead of just drama waiting to happen. Now, the number one thing that goes wrong in one-on-one relationships is that people don't get around to scheduling their calls, and then they disappear. And then they come back some period of time later, usually at a time where you don't have availability and your prices have gone up, and now want to complete the terms of this agreement. We cannot have you doing open-ended engagements where somebody can just come back forever at their convenience and access these calls. You see, for you to have a reliable coaching business that actually sustains you and your life and makes an income that makes sense, we know that you are going to be limited by the time on the calendar as well as your energy. Having this open-ended body of people who can just come back at any time really undermines those goals and those inputs to a successful business. So instead, we've got to make sure that we have something called a drop-dead date in the agreement, and that our customers are aware that they can access up to a certain number of calls during the term of your program, but thereafter, if they didn't book them, those calls are now forfeited. Super important, because I know so many coaches who have people come out of the woodwork that actually the coach has spent quite a bit of time trying to chase down at an earlier point in their relationship, who now still have to go and deliver those calls. Clients who don't show up actually take a lot more energy than clients who do show up. So we want to put somewhat of a burden on the client to make sure that they are using those calls. Make it perfectly clear that if they don't use them, they're going to expire after a certain period of time. You have done what's promised, making yourself available, setting aside time in your schedule during, let's say, your 90-day coaching term. And if they don't use it, they don't also get to have you set your time aside into the future for an unlimited period of time. The second thing that can go wrong in one-on-one coaching relationships has to do with really short notice of rescheduling. Again, you are promising to set aside time and make space for a client in a certain amount of time over a period of time. When somebody calls you, 15 minutes before and says, hey, something came up, I'm not going to be able to make it, or hey, I'm running over, can we start a little later? This infringes on the energy that you have summoned in order to really be present for them on your call, as well as it might just actually run into a next appointment or something else that you need to be doing. So having business policies around this so everyone understands up front that, hey, things happen, and sometimes things happen that cause you to forfeit a session or have a shortened session, and sometimes things happen that we can accommodate you. But being sure that those things happen up front is incredibly important. Another big area of problems for one-on-one coaches is when you have a client who wants you to handle emergencies and or who wants to be contacting you between sessions on channels that you're publicly available on, but actually are not included in their program. So this could be that they're sending you Voxer messages and Facebook Messenger messages and sending emails and texting and saying, hey, I have this thing. Can you help me? Can you fit me in? Those things, again, really undermine your ability to have a sustainable business that you can rely on, and it allows you the spaciousness to have the rest that you need, because one-on-one coaches do a lot of emotional taxing work. We need to make sure that you have the space and that you know what's going to be on your calendar and when, so that you can properly prepare for it and show up for your clients in a way that best serves them. All of these things are boundary things, and they may or may not be intuitive to you or expected by you, but I can assure you that as a one-on-one coach, they will come up in your practice. All right, 2 more things that can go wrong in one-on-one coaching relationships, and then we'll get into the exact legal checklist of documents that you need to prepare for and prevent and hopefully win should these situations arise. So we talked about the scheduling and just generally people paying you money and feeling like they have access to you for all reasons forever. Now, once they are in the session, we understand that coaching helps people through usually uncomfortable situations. We ask people to get out of their comfort zone and kind of their rut. Some people run towards that, they love it, and they want that from you. Some people think they want it, but when they actually get into the program, they're deeply uncomfortable and they want to back off from it. Now, they won't say, I'm deeply uncomfortable and I want to back off from it, but I know I engaged you and so you get to keep the money. Instead, they're going to say, I don't think this is working for me. And, it turns out you don't really have the experience it needs to help me, or you don't really understand actually what I'm going through, or your method is just not one that I'm comfortable with. So let's just call it good and I'm going to stop paying you. Or if they've paid in full, they want the refund. We have to be clear in our agreements that part of what we do as coaches is help guide people through these situations. And of course, you'll use your judgment as a coach that for some people, some of those things may actually be true, and you may make a decision to refund them or stop charging them under a payment plan. But for the vast majority of people who are just looking for an excuse, you'll want to determine in advance how you want to handle that. Because again, we are needing to build a sustainable business that you can rely on in an industry where you are going to be expected to coach people through difficulties. And one of those difficulties is that repelling that they may feel when they are going through the tough part. Finally, the other piece is pertaining to those payment plans. Many coaches offer as a courtesy a payment plan. I want to be sure that when you're doing that, you understand that the full price of the coaching program is still due, whether they use it or not, so long as you fulfilled your part of the promise, which is making yourself available for those calls that were promised. The payment plan is a courtesy. It is a separate relationship, and it is not tied to one payment for one session, and therefore If the client doesn't use the session, then they don't pay. This is not a membership. This is not a one-off. This is a fixed price for you to make yourself available for a specific number of hours over a specific period of time that you cannot necessarily resell just because someone decides not to go forward. Many clients are under the false impression that if they stop using the service, they don't have to pay. And so we want to be sure that your contract is clear, that it is up to them to use the sessions. That is a separate issue from the fact that they are paying you to set aside over a specific amount of time to be available for them. So as you can see, scheduling, rescheduling, getting people to use the calls, carrying people through that discomfort, and having them understand the payment plans are the biggest things that can go wrong in one-on-one coaching. Any of these are surprising to you? Let me know in the comments. But let's now move on to part 2, which is the suite of legal documents and policies that we put in place to prepare you for these inevitabilities in a coaching relationship. All right, first we're going to talk about your website and your sales pages. Everybody across the board needs the privacy policy. Check the pinned comment below for Legal in a Weekend. It's my free course for coaches, and in there you get a free privacy policy template, so you can just cross this right off your list. This helps your clientele understand what you're doing with their personal information, email addresses, payment information, and the like, and allows them instructions on how to be deleted or forgotten. The next piece is your terms and conditions. This goes in the footer of all of your pages, and it describes how people can interact with your content and your website before they become clients. The vast majority of people who come to you are not going to sign up, and so we want to make sure that we still have terms related to them outside of your client agreement, and that's what your terms and conditions are for. Finally, for your across-the-board website and sales pages, you want your disclaimer. I know so many of you are absolute miracle workers, but the disclaimer is an amazing place to remind a client what they have to bring to the table in order to get results. This is also a great place to provide some context in case of a dispute, especially because in the coaching industry, most disputes are handled by payment processors. They don't have a good feel for the coaching industry, and it's unlike a court in the sense that the court has a long time to get to know the situation, the case, the business, the parties involved. A payment processor handling your refund or chargeback request doesn't have that luxury. You can point them to the disclaimer to explain your home turf advantage, how you work, what your methodologies are, what the client is expected to bring to the table, and what you're expected to bring to the table. A lot of people treat the disclaimer as kind of a throwaway boilerplate. I don't do that. Definitely when you join me in my programs, you'll see that we really make the most of this document to help be part of your suite of legal documents that gets you the results that you want in case something goes sideways. Privacy policy, terms and conditions, and disclaimer. You need those across the board in your coaching business, no matter what type of offers you are selling. Now, when we get into actually selling one-on-one, we want that one-on-one client agreement that tells people what they're getting and how much they're paying and what the payment plan is and how they can cancel, although still owe, how you can cancel, which you may then refund if it's just not a fit or you have other reasons why you can't deliver. You'll also explain where the forum is, which is in your state, in your courts, if something should go wrong. And it'll contain important provisions about the drop dead date, making yourself available, but it's on the client to schedule, as well as reasons that are not valid to get a refund. And these are things like, I've changed my mind, I don't like this method, you don't really get me, etc. Because again, the one-on-one coaching relationship is about you making yourself available. And as long as you do that, the full contract price is due. So the one-on-one coaching agreement, definitely an important one. But the other parts of this are we want to include business policies and billing policies. Billing policies let your clients know what happens in case their card declines, how often you're going to recharge a card, and how quickly they have to get new payment information to you. Your business policies are the boundaries around when a client can contact you, what the turnaround time is, what the proper channels for communications are, and how they can go about booking additional support if they need things in between or on more channels than just your call. Within these documents, if you are also offering any kind of written or recorded course material that complements your coaching, we'll also want to make sure that we have provisions in there around the authorized use of that content. This is a topic for a different video on a different day, but suffice it to say that many people think if they pay for something for themselves, they can use it for any purpose. Many clients experience such a transformation working with coaches that they actually forgot what life was like before, and they decide they're going to go out and start reteaching this to other people, forgetting completely that material actually belongs to the coach that they worked with, and they did not purchase it to use it for those purposes. So we've got those website policies, we've got your one-on-one coaching agreement, billing policies, and business policies. Now, I know that as a newer coach, budget may be an issue. So getting those things in place in a way that actually includes what you need and isn't just generic documents that are missing things on the internet, I have created the Coach's Legal Starter Kit, and it is all the documents that you need, including all of the things we talked about today, at a price that is a fraction of what you would pay for crappy templates, and definitely way, way less than what you would pay going to sit down with your local lawyer who may or may not know these things and may or may not actually serve this industry. So check the comments and the links below this video. You can find all about the Coach's Legal Starter Kit below. Now, before we head out today, I do want to tell you one other thing. If you are giving content and if you are booking Zoom calls or something like that, as opposed to just doing your coaching calls on the phone, I encourage you to choose a software system that actually keeps track of what was sent out and what was accessed, even keeping the call recordings perhaps, so that you can always show that you did actually make yourself available and that you did deliver. So that's it, the complete one-on-one coaching legal checklist to protect you from all the things that go wrong when human beings come into our world. All right, it seems like a lot, but I promise you that once you decide these components for your one-on-one coaching program, it will become really intuitive about how to think about these things. If you're wondering, like, where am I going to get these documents, you can click the link below to get my Coach's Legal Starter Kit. It has everything we just talked about with the content and access to you provisions baked right in, so that you don't have to think of these things yourself. You just have to decide how and when you want to be contacted and how often you're going to charge. All of those things that are more related to your program itself that you'll need to know to sell it in the first place, you can just drop those right into the documents that I've already drafted for you in one convenient package. You'll be up and running in an hour or two, knowing that your paycheck is protected as well as your energy and your sanity. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button to let the world know and subscribe, and head on over to the next video with me. We're going to talk more about those illegal selling tactics that I mentioned that super well-meaning coaches do because everyone in the industry is telling them to do it, even though it's totally illegal. I'll see you there.